Now we start the program, sir. Over to campaigning team.
Okay, sir. A pleasant afternoon to one and all gathered here. On behalf of Knowledge Institute of Technology and Knowledge Business School Salem, we cordially welcome you all for an executive interaction program. A dream written down with the data becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by an action makes your dreams come true. With this note, we are virtually gathered here for an interaction program on leadership performance on upskilling and reskilling for digital workforce by Mr. S. Valliyappan, Head HR, Faurecia Emissions Control Technologies, India Private Limited, Chennai. Once again, I welcome you all for the session. Now, I would like to call Mr. S. Raghuram from first year MBA to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, Raghuram.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. On behalf of Knowledge Business School and Knowledge Institute of Technology, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for the Executive Interaction Program on the topic Leadership Performance on Upskilling and Reskilling for the Digital Workforce. Success is not first about what you accomplish in your life. It is about what you inspire others to do. I am happy to welcome our wonderful chief guest and resource person, Mr. S. Valliyappan, Head HR, Faurecia Emissions Control Technology India Private Limited, Chennai. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our respected founder and principal, Dr. P.S.S. Srinivasan, sir, of Knowledge Institute of Technology, who has been consistently supporting to organize this kind of program. We welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our respected Vice Principal, Dr. K. Visagavel, sir. He is a person who always motivates us. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Happy to join.
Next, I welcome Dr. P. Suresh Kumar, sir, Mentor and Director, Research and Development, Knowledge Business School. We welcome you, sir. Next, I am glad to welcome Director Dr. A. Stephens, sir, Knowledge Business School. He is a person who always incites the students to get industrial knowledge from the industrial experts. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I welcome Dr. P. Rajendran, sir, Director Placement, Knowledge Institute of Technology. He is a person who always encourages students and backbone for the placement. We welcome you, sir.
It's a pleasure to join this meeting.
Now, I would like to welcome Mr. N.C. Balachandran, sir, Senior Placement Consultant, Knowledge Institute of Business. He is a person who always energetic and motivate the students. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
And also, I am happy to welcome our various heads, department, faculty members, supporting staff for the Executive Interaction Program. And finally, I welcome future industrial expert, my dear fellow students. We welcome you all. I am sure this program provides insights of leadership, performance, and upskilling and reskilling for the digital workforce for all of us. Happy learning to all. Thank you. Over to you, Niveda.
Thank you, Raghuram. Next, I call upon Ms. S. Negapriya from first year MBA to give resource person introduction.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. It's my pleasure to introduce Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. S. Valliyappan, Head HR, Faurecia Emission Control Technological Indian Private Limited, Chennai. Sir has completed his Bachelor of Engineering at TCET, Vandivash, Madras University in 2002, PGDM at Alagapata University in 2008, EDHRM at Liba in 2009, and EGMP at IIM Lucknow in the year of 2014. He worked as a customer support executive from May 2002 to April 2003 at Bharti Info Limited, Airtel, Board Brand and Telephone Service. From May 2003 to December 2005, he worked as a senior recruitment executive at Manpower Service India. From Jan 2006, April 2007, he got promoted as senior consultant. Sir has always worked with Wheel Indian Private Limited, TVS Group from May 2007 to 2016 as a senior manager HR. Plant and corporate currently he is a facilitator at Ferrari Emission Control Technique Indian Private Limited, where he handles social and technical audit of BU which are conducted by JV partner, division and group level, handle union, negotiation, address and disciplinary procedure, policy survival, industry branch marketing, policy formation, execution, addition, and coaching manager for professor and practice. Sir, professional achievement includes faculty wages settlement with internal and external union members along with goals authorities, implementation of people review in PMS in Wheel Indian Private Limited. Received Best IR Country Award in 2017 and 2018 at Ferrari. Sir, professional achievement includes winner of various internal college technical, president of SAE Indian student chapter at UG program. Sir, topic skills includes recruitment on boardly and L&D, payroll, union, statutory compliance and benefit, talent management and procedure and policies. It's a privilege to have such an eminent person with it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha Priya. Dear participants, I request everyone to switch on your camera for photograph session. Dear participants,
Completed, sir. Over to comparing team.
thank you, sir. The harder you work for something, the greater you will achieve more. With these lines of quote, I invite the most hardworking personality, Dr. A. Stephen, sir, Director of Knowledge Business School, for Director's Address. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to welcome all the participants for the Executive Interaction Program at the Knowledge Business School, part of Knowledge Institute of Technology. Today we have with us our chief guest, Mr. S. Valliappan, sir, Head HR, Ferrusia Emissions Control Techniques India Private Limited, Chennai. We welcome you, sir, once again for the interaction with Knowledge Business School for the students. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir will be deliberating on the topic leadership performance on upskilling and reskilling to digital workforce. That's a topic sir is going to address on. Since we have with us Mr. S. Valliappan, sir, for the first time in KBS's webinar, I have a duty to say a few words about our institution. Sir might know through Mr. S. Balachandra, sir, External Placement Director. It's our duty to say a few words about our institution. Knowledge Institute of Technology started in the year 2009 and Knowledge Business School in the year 2011, affiliated to Anna University, sir. Our institution, KBSS MBA institution, have got the first ranking in government quota admissions. We are number 1 in Salem and Namakkal districts, sir. And we are 12th in ranking in Coimbatore district, covering 8 districts. And we are 26th in ranking in the state of Tamil Nadu. The credit goes to the choice of students and the parents for having the trust on us. Many institutions offer MBA program, but as an MBA institution, we have certain uniqueness. We have a faculty with excelling mentoring skills, and also we have intensive mentors taking entire subjects from the students. We have around 4 visiting faculties, industrial mentors, handling classes, and complete classes for our students. To begin with organizational behavior, we have a psychologist who done his doctorate, and we have for HRM and doctorate handling classes who is working at the vice president level. We have a chartered accountant handling finance, and we have a column writer in Hindu handling marketing management. We all benefited by their expertise, and students come to know what is expected in the industry even when they are students. That will help them in times of employment and entrepreneurship. That is the credentials and differentiation we have, sir. And we have conceptual learning entire forenoon session, and the entire afternoon we have experiential sessions, sir. We start with a newspaper analysis, a movie review, a book review, GD and videography, all such sessions, including market survey, wherein students are made to put into force the learned skills and knowledges that gives them a lot of experiences for our students. That is about our KBSS, sir. We have good students. We have a good placement records with the support of Dr. P. Rajendran, sir, and Mr. Balachandra, sir, External Placement Director. Consistently, we produce 90% of placements every year. To name a few company, we have a Byju's, Ramco Siemens, Nippon Paints, Asian Paints, India Mart, Mahindra Finance, Bajaj Capital, Maricondo Systems Limited, Axel Frontline, Axis Bank, Citizen Bank, Decathlon, Venkateshwar Hatcheries, and so many companies come to campus in taking the students. Really, it's a credit to our institution. We always thrive at the industry institute partnership. Our entire credit goes to Dr. P. Rajan sir, Balchandra sir, for being in touch with the industry people. Dear students, coming to the present day topic, upskilling and reskilling for a digital workforce. We all know what upskilling is all about. It is learning the new skills for managing the work coming in the changing environment. The people, the employees will be in the same role doing the job when it comes to upskilling. When it comes to reskilling, that is also about the enhancement of the new skills, but people will be in the different jobs. We all think about the relevance of upskilling in new skills because technology is changing, trend is changing, people perception is changing, new technologies are arriving. Yesterday's technology is old today, it becomes obsolete. In terms of such a changing environment and workforce, what HR is meant to do in terms of talent acquisition? Are they occupied to take a new talent every time, or they have to give additional skill to the existing workforce? That is what the topic is all about. Moreover, the topic is relevant to the digital workforce. I'm sure Valiappan sir will add a lot of insights based on his experiences, and also there are few things to consider. Provided the potential of the employees or the workforce, and also the enthusiasm of the employees, and also the capacity to willingness to learn. That is the main quality the HR is looking for. Surely, Valiappan sir will add a lot of insights into the topic. I'm also happy to know sir was an alumni of LIBA. I'm also an alumnus of Loyola College, and I'm so happy and glad in meeting Valiappan sir. In fact, we are not interacted before, but I'm happy to say the alumnus of being together. Such an alumnus being part of the institution years back gives a lot of enthusiasm and determination. I'm happy meeting you, sir, as an alumnus of Loyola College. I'm sure you will add a lot of insights to this program. At this juncture, I'll have a privilege to welcome our beloved principal, sir, Founder Secretary and Principal of Knowledge Institute of Technology for this live webinar. I'm also pleased to welcome our beloved Vice Principal, sir, Dr. P. Rajendran, sir, Placement Director, Mr. Balachandra, sir, Excellent Director for Placements, for being with us in the virtual webinar of students. Welcome you all once again. I'm sure my students will have a happy learning sessions. Great inputs to you. Once again, welcome Valiappan sir. Thank you, Andal. Go to the computer team.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for elaborating the record of our institution and touching upon the upskilling and reskilling. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to call upon Dr. P. Rajendran, sir, Director Placement of Knowledge Institute of Technology, to felicitate the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ma. It's a very good afternoon to every one of you. So on behalf of KIOT, I once again welcome Valiappan sir for this great occasion. Just I'd like to thank him whenever myself and our Excel Placement Director, NCP, so both of us, we used to visit Varsia organization. The kind of love and hospitality extended by Valiappan sir is really awesome. So thank you very much for your great hospitality while we are visiting your organization, sir. So really, it's coming to the upskilling and reskilling. It's a kind of need of the hour for all the MBA and all the engineers. Really, it's a great topic. So I think Valiappan sir is the right person to talk about this topic. So with this short note, I once again welcome every one of you for this great occasion. So kindly utilize this session in the fullest way. Thank you. I'd like to thank our NCP sir also for this great arrangement. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Mr. N.C. Balachandran, sir, Senior Consultant Placement Officer of Knowledge Institute of Technology and Knowledge Business School, who has been constantly supporting us for our placements. To address the gathering, we welcome you, sir.
Very good afternoon to one and all of you. It gives me great immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Valliyappan to give a presentation on the topic, very relevant topic today, leadership performance on upskilling and reskilling for digital workforce. Recently, I heard at S2 as a chair forum, one Mr. Bhanakumar giving a talk on upskilling for growth. I think I've sent a report, a detailed report to everybody, I think including Valliyappan also have sent. And that's a very relevant topic today, upskilling and reskilling. How to go on consistently reinventing yourself. All the MBA students, you need to know how to go on reinventing yourself consistently to get to know how all of us should stay relevant today in the midst of disruptive business landscape. I think I know Mr. Valliyappan for the long 15 years. Earlier he was with Wheels India. I think as Rajendran rightly put it, he is known for his extending his hospitality and reception to all the placement officer, whoever has gone to meet him. And Parisha also we have visited twice or thrice, and he has been quite hospitable by receiving me and Rajendran, and immediately organized interview also. I think he has always been supportive to all the colleges, including KSR and KOT. I have always seen him as a wonderful human being on this planet called. I think with this brief, I'd like to hand over to the MC to continue with the proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to call Dr. K. Visagavan, sir, Vice Principal of Knowledge Institute of Technology, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, I'm very happy to welcome Mr. Valliyappan for this EIP program. Really, the finding persons in HR segment is very tough. So we have to thank NCB, sir. So I think for EIP program, Stephen sir able to identify the resource person for other domain like accounts, commerce, and related to the MBA and other things. But the persons are finding in HR really tough. We have to thank NCB, sir. Right? Thank Valliyappan sir for accepting the invitation, because most of the MBA guys are going to work in that is this administration area only. Without knowing this upskilling, reskilling, and other things, definitely they may be very tough. Another one coming to the Farusia is a very wonderful company. There is no doubt. So you have a lot of breakthrough innovations. Really, I know you have breakthrough innovation. Because of your breakthrough innovations, really you are contributing to the very big to the entire globe. We have to say, because of this innovation, you can reduce this global warming, right? You are reducing the NOx. Your product will reduce the NOx, improve the fuel efficiency, reducing the fuel consumption. Really wonderful product you have, sir. I know this heated doser, one product. I think you have another product to remove the engine heat also, right? Improving the performance. Your product is highly supporting this hybrid vehicle, right? That is, you are encouraging this is electrically operated vehicle. Really wonderful things. Very fortunate to have that is a good association with Farusia. Last year, very happy. 4 students from mechanical engineering department got selected. They got offered. They have joined. Because of COVID situation, they are not able to serve. That is, I think, working from home in that mode. And after lockdown, they will come. We hope this relationship will continue. Right, there is no doubt. We have, KUOT is also a 12-year-old institution. So we are entering into 13th year. Last year, if you look at our there is a performance in admission. So that is out of 75% of seat-filled institution, if you take it in SF colleges, right? Only 13 to 15 institutions are KUOTs ornament that institutions. We have very good response for admissions from that is students, parents, and across Tamil Nadu. So equally, we are performing in training and placement area also. So in KUOT, I think with the support of our placement and NCB sir and exclusive director for training, 1,000+ hours our students are trained from first year to final year. This is a USP of our KUOT. Because such kind of training, we are able to place that is good numbers in good companies like Farusia, right? That's why there is a secret of that is a KUOT success. Every day we have such kind of programs. like EAP program. Every day we have 3 to 4 faculty lecture series. In our faculty, already they have taken some certificate courses in leading technology. They are giving program to our faculty and students. I think parallelly another program is going on research forum. We have KUT, we have our own research forum. I think that program has started in 1:30. Right, a principal is engaged because principal is always a researcher. So I have done my PhD under his guidance only. I think we have 10 to 15 doctorates already having experience of 20 plus experience, 20 plus years. We have done good number of research work and published good number of papers. So we are sharing our experience with our faculty. Around 40 to 50 faculty are pursuing the research. So that research program is going on 1:30 to 3 o'clock. That's why principals are that is are unable to join with this program. Anyhow, he has conveyed his wishes to you also, sir. Right? I have come out from that program. I have joined here. Really, thank you for accepting our invitation. I hope your address will be more useful to MBA students. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
So, 1 second, Mr. Valliappan, I forgot to mention, since you have been handling plant HR operation, I think I'd like you to throw some light on operation management for the benefit of MBA students, because they should also upgrade themselves in learning dashboard software. I think the importance of the dashboard software and what is all about operation management. If you could throw some light on that, because one of the specialized subjects in MBA is operation management. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Excellence is not being the best. It is doing your best. As per this quote, I'm very grateful to invite such an excellent personality, Mr. S. Valliappan, Head HR, our resource person of the day, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. So, good afternoon, Ananda. Thanks for your valuable time during this pandemic situation. I really understand the education system for the last 2 years, how the people are struggling to teach subjects starting from school, colleges, engineering institutions, and all the professional institutions. So it's a great initiative from KUT for having this virtual program. So it really shows the responsibility towards society and also the interest towards the education platform to the students for the upcoming professions. So I really appreciate each one of you for being in this platform, and you are doing service for so many years. So I really respect your valuable time and your thought process and your guidance, support to the students for the future professions, for making good future professions. Thanks a lot, sir, and thank you, Director, sir, and thank you, Principal, sir, and Placement Rajanan, sir. And especially very special thanks to NCB, sir, because he has been associated with me for more than 15 years. So when I joined in 2007, he was interacting with me for KSR placements, and he used to meet me every year, and we used to coordinate for placements. So it's a really very good experience, and he is many times he inspires me a lot. So being at age, I am at 40. I am not in a position to be active as much as NCB. Starting wake up in the morning till he doing all kind of activity in a day to day, and whatever the messages he sent to me. So it's really inspiring to me, and I sent him a message also. It's really your inspiration for us, for each one of us, for making us young. So it's really a very good thing. Correct. So we need a lot more inspiration from you, and please guide us and coach us. So in the coming days also, sir. Thanks a lot, NCB, sir. Okay. And thank you, students, for being part of this virtual platform. I understand. So afternoon session, 2 o'clock, 2:30 would be a very drowsy session, I believe. So I will not make much board session. So it will be interactive session. Since I am working from home, I'm also comfortable in spending time in this kind of activities. So if you are at office, we'll be busy with operations and the schedules and the shop floor visits. So meeting people. So we have a separate schedules. Routines will be that. So since we are working from home, we have enough ample opportunity to have interactions with you all. Thanks for all your time, and so this would be a much interactive session. So I'll not talk about. I'll give some insights because I'm not going to reinvent anything on upskilling or reskilling. Basic thought process. See, actually, I took one session for DG Vaishnav students last month. So I got some input from NCB. Based on that only, I've delivered my session. So I immediately called him and I asked him, "So do you have any slides on that?" So he immediately forwarded to me the same slides. I'm going to take it forward from here. And apart from the slides, videos, let it will be interactive. So if we have more interaction, if you have probe much more in-depth details, so we can able to interact. I can also learn funny new things from young students, that what they are expecting and what is their thought process and how they are behaving. So we can also learn something. So it should be interactive session. So in this, I would like to start my presentation. So before that, I want to play a small video about my company profile. So it will be helpful for you people to correlate the leadership performance, how it has been evolved in Faurecia. Can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so this is our short history of our company profile. See, you can see the evolution of this Farusha. So it's about 100 plus years. It's about more than 10 decades. So initially it was started in the year 1914. So they started with Batra Fauri company, and then 1929 ECA was there. These two company merged together and make a name of Faru. If you first last four letters of the first company and first three letters of the first company, second company which has been acquired. So this put together has come as Farusha. Okay. So the globally now the Farusha presence is in 36 countries. And if you can see the evolution of Farusha in the last 10 years, it's enormous. So they have acquired many more new business. So they stepped into India in the year 2010. So once they stepped in and they have a good leadership performance in India, and they have a strong foundations in terms of technology. So they can able to overcome the market share with about 55% of market share acquired in India right now. So globally, if you can say out of 4 vehicles, you can see one vehicle will be fitted with Farusha products, either exhaust system or automotive seating or interiors or Clarion Electronics. So you can able to see once in 4 vehicles, you can able to see the Farusha product across the globe. And if you see, and the transformation is happening based on the market conditions, technology revolution, and based on the customer expectations. So Farusha strongly focus on all these aspects time to time, and wherever the upskill is required, wherever the reskill is required. So reskill, it's quite competent, and it's very difficult to manage the reskill in the growing industry scenario. So our director sir has clearly explained about what is meant by skill, what is meant by upskill, what is meant by reskill. So, and I also wanted to hear from few of you about what is the understanding on skill. What do you mean by skill? Can anyone say? Students? So if you're students, if you're not opening your mouth, I'll call one by one by their names. Is it okay?
Sir, the ability to do work.
Okay, ability to do
Work.
the task. Correct. What's your name?
Sir, Arun Kumar.
What's your name? Okay,
Arun
very
Kumar,
good.
sir.
Okay, thanks for coming forth and explain what is the understanding of skill. Skill is nothing but the ability to do something, which is what we are doing in the current context. See, as a student now, you wanted to study and you want to understand the subject and you want to understand the perspective of the theoretical things, and you want to grow as a good professional. Okay, so when upskill is required. So when there is a change in technology, and you want to make the product within the available technology, so the person can be taught that only the technology changes. For example, from PLC to SCADA. Any technical people is there? Be students.
We have certain
Hello?
students.
Sir,
We have
sir,
certain
sir.
students, sir.
Okay. So for them, the understanding would be better. So from current technology to new technology, so they can able to teach very quickly. So only the technology part alone. For example, if you take in software from C++ to Java, so it's very easy platform to teach the new skills. That is called upskill. So when it is reskill, that is teaching someone new skills. For example, if you take after this COVID pandemic from the year 2020 April, we all used to wear mask. Okay, social distancing, hand sanitation. This is particularly, if you think about these changes, it's completely reskill. For example, in any villages, if you take or any educated like Chennai, wherever Coimbatore, whichever districts you take, this reskill is the most important thing, because this COVID-19 pandemic teaches us many new skills to adopt to save ourselves from the virus. So we are all going for a new normal situation. Now, usage of mask, social distancing, and sanitation is a must-do activity wherever we go. So we need to save ourselves from the virus. So we need to have these PPEs, and we need to have these all safety precautions at any point of time. This is nothing but reskill. And if you take upskill, I can give you one more example. So if you take a car mechanic or a scooter mechanic, so they are also parallelly upgrading their skills based on the technology advancement in the automobiles, either in four-wheeler or two-wheeler. So parallelly, whatever the artificial intelligence is being adopted in the car, so they are also able to troubleshoot the issues. So they are also learning from one platform to another. From earlier it was Ambassador, now it is a high technology SUV, you can say Ford EcoSports, or you see in Hyundai, you can say Venue. So the technology has evolved, and also you can able to see the skill required to repair the car. So the car mechanic can able to learn and upskill himself to survey in the market. So this is the best example. And if you take for competency, and for particularly in upskill, we need to have a sustainable career path, with respect to any operations, especially in leadership behavior. With respect to Faurecia, we have a strong platform that where we can identify the potential and where we can grow the people in the transformation skill. And also it has to be in line with the changing business scenario from time to time. So, and also to the market context. And also we need to provide opportunity in terms of cross-functional moves from one function to another function, and we can increase the perimeter from a location wise, and also we need to take care of their work-life balance when we are doing upskilling. And with respect to competency, it's nothing but there are competency comprises of 4 levels: skill, experience, qualification, and technical. So these all 4 parameters will link to competency. So we need to have a structured competency model, and we need to practice a very good platform that it will be suitable for our leadership behavior or the current context. Because we are in the current state of VUCA world. VUCA is nothing but volatile, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So if you see, because pandemic is there already, and almost we are all hearing about black fungus, white fungus, and yellow fungus, and so the globally there is a wave 2 we are experiencing. Globally, wave 2 already they have experienced, and all they come to normal situation, and they are waiting for the wave 3. So in this situation, in the current VUCA world, we need to have a structured competency model which will help our leaders to grow, to transform, to sustain in the business. So we should focus on transformation, learning, and execution to have a decided leadership performance in every organization, for which a competency model is a very much important tool that we can build among the organization for all leaderships. Okay. So do you have any different thought process on these 4 main topics: skill, reskill, upskill, competency, students?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll go for next. So after we want to know about the generations. So when we talk about generation Z, so normally the age group will be your age group 18 to 24 years of people. So the workplace is about to change. So it's particularly about your population and the student population. So, and we can thank or blame about 61 million individuals born between 96 and 2010. So who are about to enter the workforce and bring with them completely different priorities, values, and needs. So in order to accept this new generation of workers, companies, every organizations need to prepare by taking action now. And the best way to prepare is to better understand them in terms of their behavioral, in terms of their perception towards the organization. Okay, so there are few key attributes that the generation Z have, which will uproot how companies operate and engage with employees. Okay, so there are high-tech minds, that is called Internet of Things, tech savvy, and they will not don't trump on human needs. So this generation is the first fully digital generation. Okay, and yet they yearn for human interaction at work. In fact, 90% of this generation reports awaiting some form of human element woven into their work and team interactions. This means a workplace needs to provide the tech aspect with a twist of human connection. We can say artificial intelligence. For example, if this generation of employee working remotely, perhaps consider scheduling video chats instead of phone calls. So if the people are working in work from home facility, they prefer to use Teams for the small chatting. They will not use the phone calls. So this kind of generation, they are more tech savvy, and if a person managing the generation is that this employee, offering his time to give them feedback or ask how the project is going will do wonders for the productivity and the work output. So that kind of motivation they are expecting from their immediate N+1, their bosses. The generation seeks a collaborative, team-friendly environment and craves positive relationships at work that go beyond online or social media contact. So we need to handle this generation very carefully because when they are entering into the first platform of the career, so we need to be very careful to handholding them for 6 months to 1 year. And also we need to understand their behavior, their expectations, and parallelly we need to treat our culture in the sense organization culture from where they are growing further. And basically their desire for work-life balance is deeper. If you take this generation, they expect work-life balance. So this gives work-life balance a top priority when choosing an employer. So there is a dip. There was one survey. It clearly reveals that 47% of millennials who ranked work-life balance as a priority, but still trumps the previous generation. When we talk about a millennial, that is the age group of 25 to 34 years of age, there are a largely optimistic group, this group, and believe that life and work should be worthwhile and have meaning. They want to learn and grow and to understand how they fit in the organization with their jobs, teams, and companies. Millennials look for work that fuels their sense of purpose and makes them feel important. But this age group, they are more secure. They want to be more secure. If you come to Generation X, they look to be leaders, to be role models. So this is a generation we need to concentrate for the next 3 to 5 years of time to have good economy in particularly in India. So this Generation X looks to leaders to be role models, leaders who exemplify the company's values with their actions and who are ready to jump into help to solve the problems and lead the business through transition and changes, particularly the transformations. So this generation wants leaders to be engaged in work and easily approachable. When we talk about the boomers, so that is 55 plus of years of age. So they believe in hierarchical structure and rankism and may have a hard time adjusting to workplace flexibility trends. So they believe in face time at the office and may fault younger generation for working remotely. So these are the four types of generations we can able to see in the next 3 to 4 years of time. So this is the viewpoint on the work culture. So when we talk about market scenario, it's a famous study. It's my previous company. So they have done a good study on global versus India, how the market scenario in the next 5 years. It's clearly evident that 40% of employers worldwide reported a lack of skilled qualified workers with the necessary skills to fill open positions. So, and also the 73% of education leaders feel traditional education model is being disturbed. And 61% of India's higher education leaders felt education system is unable to respond to society changing needs. And 40% of estimated 4 million workforce of India need reskilling over next 5 years to keep pace with changes, because it's the most important factor. When we come to reskill, definitely it will be a more challenges for the generation X and the millennial and boomers. Only generation Z can able to face these challenges for the reskilling. What I'm saying, it's my thought perspective. So if you have any difference of opinion, please let me know. Okay. Automation and adoption of new technologies have changed the landscape for professional managers. So this is about our India market scenario when we compare to global market scenario regarding with micro industries, small industries, medium industries, and large industries. And when we go for statistics on McKinsey, either on upskill or reskill, so McKinsey predicts clearly that 14% of global workforce need to switch occupation by 2030 due to artificial intelligence and automation, especially Industry 4.0. And 74% of employees think their managers need reskilling, upskilling training. So this generation Z, they are thinking that they need their managers, either Gen Z or millennials or boomers. They think that they want reskilling or upskilling training. And 65% of children entering primary school now will be working in jobs that do not currently exist. This is a very pathetic situation. So we need to really work on these aspects. And also McKinsey had a survey with the employees and as well as the employers. Why did you feel the need to upskill or reskill your employees? So they have done with many major employers in all industries, or automotive industries, tire industry, food industry, ITs. So it's clearly evident that 71% of employees has said that as part of a training and development culture is most important factor right now. And also they ever provided our employees with upskilling or reskilling training. So, and 59% of population said that both the reskilling and upskilling training is being imparted to the employees in every organization. And after seeing this market survey, so every organization has to invest time and cost to develop their competent workforce, either in upskilling or reskilling. So we need to parallelly, with respect to our industry, we need to think of upskilling, because the exhaust system will be in India in the year next 5 years or 10 years. When we go for e-vehicle, electric vehicles, definitely our industry will not be in a position to employ every employees for lifetime. So we need to reskill them. So it's a reskill employee. It's not at all possible when we are having a workforce of 500 plus employees or 600 plus employees. Obviously, we need to come up with voluntary retirement services. To avoid this, we need to upskill our employees in terms of the changing market scenario in other business verticals. So we do have other business like automotive seating, we have interior systems, we have Clarion Electronics, where the technology and the commodity is being different. We need to upskill them based on the market requirement So definitely the reskilling we can able to foresee, and we can able to safeguard our employees down the line next 10 years. So we need to focus both on upskilling and reskilling. With respect to upskilling, is the need of the hour. So any students, if you want to know anything further, do you have any clarifications?
No, sir.
Okay. So that is a problem. Okay. So when we come to this next slide, this slide. So the current market scenario, it's need to be changed. So we need to be changed. So no other options. We need to change our entire workforce thinking process, workforce thinking process, our leadership thinking process. So if you are not changing ourselves, definitely you can able to visualize, or you can able to call back that Swiggy, Zomato, Uber. These companies have been in news for layoff in the recent past, numbers ranging from 10% to 25% of the workforce. So also this IMA study reveals that 20% layoff in India companies due to shortage of skilled workforce. So hence this situation strongly reveals that the Indian job market is in changing scenario. So this is the time we need to invest our the skilled workforce either in upskill or reskilling to the market requirement. So in the changing, in the current changing scenario, if you're not doing at the right time, definitely we will be facing a huge skill shortage of workforce in each and every segment. So if you take the employees, because you want to be changed everywhere, not only the workforce, we need to change the industry segment, organizations, every organizations, they need to transform themselves to the current requirement. If not, it's very difficult to sustain in the market. Also, we are not in a position to retain the desired skill set required for the market. If you take employee, millennials are not looking at a job from office, 9 to 5 job, with someone telling them how the aspects is. So if you take a careers are no longer step ladder type, but it's now crisscross based on the changes. So today HR is there, tomorrow they can go to operations. Tomorrow operations is there, they can go to finance. So it's a no standard thumb rule that I should be HR for till my retirement. There is not at all thumb rule now. So if you take HR, started as a compliance officer team, but now the boardroom decisions are being taken by HR. So if you take HR, it's a traditional time office, a personal department. Now it is transforming to strategic HR business partner. So HR is being involved in each topics in terms of operations topics, and here HR also plays a very important key role in developing people to have sustainable environment in the market. So if you take technology also evolved and is becoming a packet-friendly tool now. So as a generation X, you people, you have Internet of Things and you have everything in your hand. So in such a way, technology has been developed. When you talk about globalization versus localization, so this also it's now very quite common. Even if you take many IT people are working from home from India, but primarily their job at US or UK or Singapore or Malaysia. But the people are working from home. The facility is there. Now globalization versus localization, and also in Indian automotive market, they wanted to cut down all import related parts. They want to make it localization. So this is a kind of scenario now we are in. Okay, so why upskill is required? So upskill is the need of the hour now. So at this point of time, reskill, it will vanish, or it will redundant many people job. So at the time of Now we need to focus only on upskill. So reskilling or upskilling, there are both are important, but to my knowledge, upskill is the need of the hour. Why upskilling is an effective tool that helps employees to secure their tenure and to get a promotion, to grab the opportunity of growing into manager roles in the organization. So we are, as I said earlier, so we are giving a good platform, enlarged role, enlarged position, and we are giving a good bandwidth within the team. And also, one second. And also, we are providing opportunity in terms of cross-functional moves, increased perimeter, work-life balance. Also, we are focusing. So it will automatically create some kind of knowledge or some kind of interest towards to grow along with the organization. So, and also it is an effective tool that helps even for fresher or young talents to secure a job and to grab the opportunity of growing into the employment market and to gain knowledge to move towards manager roles in the organization. Okay, and the purpose of upskilling is to enhance their competencies in terms of technical competencies, in terms of experience, and also to secure their job. Upskilling also boosts employability and morale of the employee. And employees get a chance to grow into manager roles as well as the promotion. It brings new opportunities with added benefits. So, while instead of hiring fresh people for the manager role, if you promote from the existing people to that role, so he is very well fit into the culture and he can able to, because he almost 5 to 10 years he has spent some good amount of time in the organization. So in such a way, he can able to know the commodity very well, culture, process, product, everything he knows very well. So it will create a new platform, new opportunities with added benefits. So we can also able to extract day one, from the start of the managerial activity. From the day one, we can able to expect the output. Whereas the new hire, once he coming into the system from other company, so it will take hardly 6 months to 1 year to settle down, to understand the company, to understand the people, product, process. And also it opens up new possibilities with changing job perspectives. And with respect to aspects to consider for upskilling is to determine your goals, know your capability, conduct skill gap, define a development plan, and chart your course, build and leverage your network, plan to become cross-functional, align upskilling to your job search category. As a HR, as a human resource professional, we should be very clear in upskilling process. So we need to identify the right potential talent within the organization, ability to grow within the organization, short term, mid term, long term. Short term may be 12 months, mid term may be 24 months, long term would be 36 months. We need to have a clear roadmap. So to attain to that position, what are the activities we are going to encourage them in terms of training, in terms of coaching, in terms of development plan? So we need to have a clear roadmap. When we talk about upskilling on an individual, we need to have a clear roadmap in place before executing the things. And also, these are the thought process. So there is a minds to nurture. Are we managing the minds? When we think about upskilling, we need to understand the perception or personality traits of the particular person. What is his career mind? And how he will manage ego, how he will mind to eat or mind for learning, and how the person is. We need to have a thorough study in terms of, we need to have some kind of data before starting the upskilling process. So how is way of thinking and how is mental inclination for the new assignments and what is his frame of mind, whether it is a positive attitude person or negative attitude person, and how is his collection of thought process, whether he is in a listening mode or in the aggressive mode. So these are the mindset also we need to look when we go for upskilling. So we should have a growth mindset personality. We should not have a fixed mindset personality, for which we need to have a clear guideline when we start the upskilling process. So we need to select people, those who have growth mindset perception or methodology. So there are many ways for upskilling. So first thing, we need to keeping ourselves skilled. So there are 4 dimensions. One is core skills, and another one is ancillary skills and flex skills and add-on skills. These are the skills we need to map position wise based on the leadership in operations. There are best options to upskill is, and we need to understand the technology according to the business requirement and keep our eyes and ears open in the area of expertise. We should welcome ideas at any point of time, and we should be in a position to out of box thinking and adapt to the scenario. Never say to an opportunity knocks only once. And always we need to have a high on applying the knowledge gained to solve the life issues. These are the different ways for upskilling. So I talk about upskilling, and also I want to clearly emphasize on the reskilling and upskilling. What is the strategic response to the challenging skill demands? So in the 2018 Future of Jobs reported that the World Economic Forum predicts that 75 million jobs will be displaced by 2022, that is by next year. In 2018, it has been done. So in 20 major economies. At the same time, 133 million new roles are expected to be created, driven by advances in technology and continuous digital transformation. So as demand for new capabilities gather space, reskilling and upskilling can enable the organization to develop the skills needed to remain competitive. So when we talk about reskilling versus upskilling, both are now effective strategies in every organization for employers to combine what is expected to become a perennial skills shortage. So with respect to our industry, if you take my industry, Faurecia Emission Control Technologies, where we manufacture exhaust system. So we are very clear. We are already started our transformation from the year 2017 that we will not be exist in the market for the next 10 years. So our potential market will be next 7 to 10 years of time only. We have potential market. So obviously we need to upskill our people instead of reskilling. So that is the third process. So reskilling means looking for people with adjacent skills. They are close to the new skills that already we discussed. So the culture of upskilling, on the other hand, means teaching employees new advanced skills to close talent gaps. It involves every team members in continuous education and help them to advance along with the current career path. So that is the methodology that we are adopting in Faurecia globally. So there are 4 driving factors: leading change, developing people, driving performance, fostering collaboration. This is our 4-pillar model, and this will have 3 competencies in terms of transformation, learning, and execution. So we have mapped the competencies. So in a 4 grid matrix with respect to leading change, development people, driving performance, and fostering collaborations. So for which this is our competency model, leadership competency model. So how we will develop people with related to this competency model? So we are having a 70-20-10 approach. 70% is nothing but on-the-job training. So we will create a platform that the individual can be part of that project, and he can be he can also drive the project. So when we get on the job training, really he will understand the pitfalls, and he can able to demonstrate himself in a better way, and he can able to come out with solutions for many crisis situations. So 20% will be the informal learning. Informal learning is nothing but coaching, mentoring. So we have a coaching, mentoring people across the globe, across 36 countries, with regard to technical, with regard to behavioral, with regard to entrepreneurship. So we have a group of people. Those people can mentor or coach when they stuck. When our people in this development program, when they stuck, they can easily approach their mentor, and they can get the guidance from the mentor. And 10% only we look for the formal training. So 70% we focus only on the on-the-job training. So this is the competency model we are practicing. Last 5 years, if we can say, there are many changes in this competencies that happened because of the current market scenario or current VUCA world. So scenario, we have changed the competencies this is the recently changed competency model in the year 2020, last year. So accordingly, we have identified the potentials, those who can grow along with the organization with the help of, with the aim of only upskilling model. We are not talking about reskilling in this scenario. We are talking about only upskilling model. So we'll give on-the-job training. So they'll be assigned, apart from the current role, they'll be assigned to the strategic projects. So time to time, what is that market requirement? For example, RM reduction, raw material reduction, or VAVE, value analysis, value engineering, how we can reduce the RM cost. So these are the various strategic projects that is being in pipeline. These people, potential leaders who have been identified, will be part of this on-the-job training. So these 3 months to 6 months, we will evaluate and we'll see the outcome. And every monthly once, it is being reviewed by the country board. So they can able to demonstrate what they have done during the last 3 months or 6 months during this strategic project assignments. This is apart from the current roles and responsibilities. So this is creating a platform for upskilling themselves to the market requirement and also to the organization requirement. Whenever the need arises, we can able to utilize these people to that particular role without getting the support from external market. So these are ready-made skill set that we are using in terms of upskilling. So this is a way of focusing our people, developing our people through strategic projects, and also making business impact performance through our people. So this all needs to have a to align with business critical topics, and also to address the need of each and every functions at the immediate juncture. And also we are accelerating the people development and to retain in the organization for long term. So NCB sir told me that that we want to mix up some operations instead of HR. We want to talk about operations also. So when we talk about operations, see here, as I said earlier, skill is required to manage, to align, and to sustain in the market. As you take Generation X, Generation Z. Generation Z can quickly adapt to the current market scenario. And also they are digital tech savvy people between this age group of 18 to 24. So they can able to quickly adapt. So my kind request is the people entering into the first step of the career, they should not stick on only one position. They should have broad minded. They should be in a position to do some value addition from the current roles what they perform, and they need to move forward to the next level from one function to another function. They need to enlarge their functions in terms of additional responsibilities, in terms of multi locations, in terms of automation, in terms of digital transformation. So they need to increase their parameters, and they need to perform, and they need to showcase that they are best in the organization. For which in every organization, they now the scenario immediately warrants that they will not stick on to only one portion. They need to focus on multiple multitasking. So this generation is specifically in every organization is looking for multitasking. So they need to stick on only, they should not stick on only on particular job profile. They need to have multitasking in every aspects. And whatever the job they do, they need to make automation. They need to make do something better. What is the current process? What best can do with the help of digital platform, or with the help of any automation projects. So what best we can out of box thinking. So in such a way, in every organization, the people are looking at for in the current VUCA world, how the young workforce can able to deliver most important change management in the organization. Okay, so this all about my presentation. So now the students can talk about that thought process, or if there are any queries, they can think about it.
Dear participants, kindly raise the questions to the resource person, or else you can put
Otherwise, you can chat in the chat box also. So if you're not in a position to ask, so you can. See, my appeal to the directors are placement officers, Rajendran sir and vice principal sir. So, do you have any thought process beyond this, sir, or do you have any difference of thought process? What I am said on upskilling or reskilling process, sir?
It's fine, sir. It's wonderful. You have told this in the environmental context in the change time, and you also told about the implications of e-skilling. That's fine, sir. That's wonderful, sir.
Okay.
Sir, one more thing, sir. Really, it was very nice about the Gen X, Gen Y, baby boomers. You have explained clearly, and we do understand. Really, it's a fantastic session, sir. So kind of you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
All MCBs are input only, sir.
Okay, come on.
Yes, sir.
Rajendra,
Yes,
you're
sir.
also there.
Yes, sir.
Rajendra,
You please, sir.
Rajendra is very modest, sir. He's outstanding placement director. I know I made him.
He's our placement guru and mentor, sir. Thank you, sir.
Joe. Anyway, good presentation by Valliyappan and a lot of points on reskilling and upskilling and what should be the role of HR in transforming the entire organization to move towards digital infrastructure and learning and development, skill acquisition in terms of upskilling and reskilling. On the whole, wonderful, power-packed, scintillating presentation. Thank you, sir.
So really, this is wonderful presentation, Valliyappan, sir. That is 70-20-10 competency development model. This is a good one, sir. There is no doubt. We have added all the points. I think parallelly, I thought of it. How can we do for our organization? We have taken a lot of input from your presentation, sir. Right? Really wonderful presentation, sir.
Dear students, you may ask questions to sir. If not, you can make it in the chat box.
So in the meantime, just I want to play one small video that I have seen recent past to have a gratitude. This is just 5 minutes video only. Can you able to see my screen?
Story today, and I really loved it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Movie theater announces that they're going to play a 10-minute award-winning movie prior to every show in the theater. People are really excited, and they all come in early and settle down because they don't want to really miss any part of this 10-minute award-winning movie. The movie began with a snapshot of the room ceiling. There's no decoration on the ceiling, it was just plain blank ceiling. Couple of minutes passed, but the camera did not move. People started wondering, and though they were whispering, the frustration was very obvious. After a couple of more minutes, emotions were moving from frustration to anger. People started wondering, what could be wrong with this man who made this movie? They started ridiculing the jury who gave this man the award, and they could not understand why this theatre management would like to show this movie before every show. After about 8 to 9 minutes, people were getting really impatient, and that time the camera moved from the ceiling to the floor, and suddenly the audience got to see a bedridden man looking at the ceiling. He was totally handicapped due to some spinal cord injury. The camera again rolled back toward the ceiling, and the following sentence appeared on the screen. We showed you only 9 minutes of this young man's daily activity from the 24 hours of his life, and which he will probably watch for the rest of his life. And you complained and ran out of patience, as you couldn't bear to watch it even for 9 minutes. So friend, right now, if you are not confined to the ceiling, consider yourself lucky. And if you are able to manage 3 meals a day, and if you have your loved ones close to you, consider yourself as absolutely blessed. Irrespective of what age or what stage of life you are in right now, you can always rebuild and make it big. Remember, someone had lost all his money and wealth at the age of 57, and then EBC happened, and he regained all his stardom and all the money and much more at that age. Someone's hotel got shut at the age of 62, and then he franchised his recipe for fried chicken, and today we have KFC. And then there is someone who started his acting career at the age of 45, and he went on to become one of the most promising actors in the Bollywood industry. Remember, friends, you have only been physically quarantined, not mentally. So please think, plan, strategize. So when things open up, you know where to hit, how to hit, and how to make it big. And don't forget, happiness is always a choice. So stay happy and keep smiling. Thank you.
So this is the famous motivational video by Ravi Nair. So I inspired after seeing this video. So it's the current context. It's entirely it's matching.
Absolutely, sir. Good.
Okay. Sam is asking about 70-20-10 rule. Okay. Okay. 70 is nothing but on-the-job training. For example, if I'm recruiting an engineer, graduate engineer, so he has done 10 plus 2 plus 4 years of education system in college. Okay. So he entering as a fresher to the industry. Okay. So what I will do, he will be on the job training. He will be hands-on touching the part, hands-on working along with the workers, he hands-on working along with his colleagues. Okay. On the job, he has to work. So he has to learn. He need to touch the part and feel the part, how is being produced. That is called on the job training. So on the job, what are all the processes being done is being carried out step by step process. He has to learn and he need to be part of the team, and he has to put forth his thought process, his ideas, his shortcomings. So those areas he can able to serve across that, he can able to deliver across the team. And 20 is nothing but if at all any, for example, if a person is doing for on the job training for 2 months or 3 months, and then the person daily wonders some technicality or some behavioral aspects with people, he might not be strong. So for which he can get the counseling from his mentor or coaching, whoever is being assigned to him, he can able to get the guidance and support in terms of technical, in terms of behavior, in terms of soft skills. So how do I behave in this forum? How do I handle this kind of presentations? So 10% will be the on-the-job training, classroom training. 10% is nothing but classroom training. So we can teach what the 7 steps methodology and what is mean by presentation skills. Those we can taught in a classroom training is called 10%. So ideally, if for engineering with 4+ years of experience, if a person is assigned as a production supervisor, so he is doing a job from graduate engineering training to production supervisor job for 4 years. So from there, he need to grow to the further later as a production manager or ME manager or quality manager, for which this 70-20-10 model, development plan model, is a good ideal model that we are utilizing. So whatever the competencies we have fixed, we will do the 360-degree appraisal among his colleagues and his customers, his boss and his peer group. It's nothing but 360-degree appraisal in terms of competencies. Each competence is how he is behaving. So based on that, we'll develop a development plan where he can be put together, further developed in his career, either in quality or maintenance or in production. So in such a way, we will identify the strategic projects for the next 1 year or next 2 years. For example, for me, scrap is the main area that we need to look into it. So we need to reduce the scrap percentage, since my total output, whatever the sales I'm doing it, it's 30% coming as scrap. So for which I need to assign a cross-functional team as a strategic project assignment. So scrap reduction in so and so line. So for which I am fixing a cross-functional team. He will be leading that team, that production supervisor, what I am mentioning. He will be leading that team. He will be part of that strategic project assignment. And this 70%, what he will do, he will work on line, he will understand the product, he will understand the process. This is apart from his regular job. So what he is performing as a production supervisor, apart from it, this is a project 3 months to 6 months that he has to demonstrate, for which he will be allotting 1 or 2 hours every day for that particular project to be a part of cross-functional team. And on the job, he will analyze day-to-day problems, and based on that, he will get a final thing, and he will implement any ideas that can be implemented to reduce the scrap. And if at all for 20%, he can get the guidance, coaching from expertise, which is available within the organization or outside the organization. 10% we can able to train them on the technical aspects if it is anything required that we have to do in the preliminary stage when we are doing the development plan of 70-20-10 principle. So if you want, I can able to show you one 70-20-10 principle model, which has been deployed in our company.
Sir, one more question in chat box, sir.
Just complete this.
Oh, okay, sir.
So this is literally a practical model that is being deployed in our plant to make the succession floor plant manager. So this IDP we developed for the production manager. So on the job training. So what are the on the job training? He has to lead a cross-functional team to reduce raw material and cost, particularly in the cold end process. And also he has to lead cross-functional this changeover time reduction, CT reduction, and process improvements in Twin Robo. That is a process, weld muffler and assembly lines. This is a specific project. It has been identified that it will be create a impact on the organization on the current context. And also second point, understand and lead strengthening human resource planning project with the support of site HR for the entire Chennai plant. And the third one is identifying potential losses and implement solutions in Chennai plant which are associated with people, process, and product. So these are the projects areas, and these are the competencies can be linked, and who is responsible, and the target date we have mentioned. This is the informal training. Understanding these are the technical aspects, understanding PIP creation, plant and program. So there are certain experts available within our team. So these experts will be guiding them or coaching them in this aspect. And the training finance for non-finance. So as a plant manager has to understand the financial P&L accounts, for which all along they've been mechanical oriented people. They want to understand the finance topics on the P&L. So for which we have arranged the classroom training for these people. So this is nothing but 70-20-10 approach. So hope you have clarified, Sam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So good afternoon, sir. Niveda here. I have a question, sir. Sir, in HR perspective, in which areas or we should do upskilling, sir?
See, in the current context, so in the current changing global environment, we need to focus only on people development according to the changing business scenario. How do we develop people? How do we implement this upskilling process or reskilling process within the organization? This is a major talk of the town for the current scenario. Because if you take either olden HR practices in terms of payroll, time management system, now everything is automated. There is no need of human interventions is required in terms of payroll, in terms of timekeeping, in terms of leave record maintaining, in terms of their personal database monitoring. Nothing is required. Now everything is, we have automated system called SAP. So its ERP systems are available in the market. So everything is being automated. Now we want people to drive these people development initiatives across the organization or within organizations. How we can develop people in the changing business scenario. That is the main topic. We want to focus only on people development topics.
Okay, sir.
And yes, tell me.
Sir, in terms of internship in HR perspective, are you offering any internships?
Yes. So time to time we are doing it, but due to this pandemic last 2 years, we are forced to restrict few interns inside the plant. So obviously once we come to normal situation, definitely we can able to encourage internship in the real-time environment.
Okay. Sir, and one last question, sir. In first video, you have played one video, right, sir? In that, I saw like Faurecia is in joint venture with Michelin Tires.
Yes, see, Faurecia globally, there is no joint venture. But when they entered into India, they have the joint venture with, they bought MCon Technologies. Okay. MCon Technologies is the company, it's a US-based company, they bought across the globe. So in India, MCon Technologies, they have Anand Group joint venture. So they want to continue the joint venture for lifetime. So that's why only for exhaust business, they have joint venture with Anand Group, Faurecia. Rest all other three business are 100% Faurecia entity.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Since our exhaust business is the acquired business, so that's a joint venture is already exists in the acquired business, so they want to continue the same practice.
Valliappan, my Balachandran, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Now people are talking about recruitment vertical will see a dramatic transformation. You need to leverage technology like AI in sorting out candidate profile. AI will be of great value to the HR professional in finding out the right candidate for the right job. How do we stand now, and how it's going to be next 3 years? Is it true that AI will take over the entire recruitment vertical?
Yes, sir. Definitely, it's a valid thought process from your end, sir. Definitely, this artificial intelligence is going to play a very vital role in all segments, not only in HR. So in HR also, it's going to play a very vital role. So the entire recruitment process after this pandemic, if you see, all recruitment is happening through virtual platform, and even onboarding of employee, it's happening through virtual platform. Even in operations, our kind of plant operations, mechanical automotive industry, now we are doing a virtual onboarding due to the current scenario. So in such a way, the recruitment is much easier, and the human intervention, it's will not be there. So the artificial intelligence will play a very key platform in assessing the candidate according to the job specifications or requirements. Definitely, there you can able to see the drastic change in the hiring process of any industry, especially before on or before 2025. You can able to see in another 3-4 years time, we can able to see these changes, sir.
Likewise, to handle HR analytics, what is the kind of certificate course I think MBA students should do?
HR analytics, see now HR analytics is not so important, sir. So it's my perspective. So if you want to analyze anything, you can able to extract a dashboard in SAP. Okay. So whatever, if you want to see the gender diversity, function wise, business segment wise, you can able to pinpoint any number of reports. Only thing is the HR person is in a position to interpret the requirement in the right things based on the dashboard. So, and we need to, that is the main important role that we need to play a very, we need to interpret the things in the right way. And if we have any clarification or doubt in the interpreting the data and facts, obviously we need to consult with the concerned stakeholders and to make it appropriate, and we need to understand the things in the better way.
Thank you.
So HR, some Kumaresan KBBS sir has asked about HR metrics and HR analytics. So HR metrics, it's all plant oriented KPIs. I can say key performance indicators. What is the need for the plant in the current scenario, either in terms of turnover or in terms of resignation, in terms of skill gap, polyvalence, or in terms of people metrics, or in terms of absenteeism. There are many metrics can be measured. So it's all based on the plant performance. So plant performance need to be monitored. For example, in our plant, we need to monitor one on safety KPIs with it zero accident, zero incidents. And the second one is we need to maintain the absenteeism level to have the right skill set to operate the machines and to have the quality products. And we need to have the human aspects of production, that is appropriate workforce required for production at the right time. So these are the main metrics. It obviously, this metrics all will change plant to plant and business to business. And analytics, HR analytics is nothing but it's all based on the reports what we extract, and to have metrics, right metrics in place, we need to have the right HR analytics software.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dear students, any other questions you would like to ask, sir? Any questions in the chat box?
No, sir.
Okay. Dear sir, Valliappan sir, wonderful session, sir. A lot of insights like lot many questions like HR analytics and HR metrics, the kind of questions that are asked about HR analytics and also about the dashboard and diversity, how relevant it is for the HR measurements. And also you spoke about many generations and the expectations and qualities of the generations and things like that. And also you spoke about what is skill, reskilling, upskilling. Also you spoke about competency, the comparison of competency, skill and experience and qualification and technology and things like that. You spoke about a lot of varieties of things, sir. Surely many of the students are interested in HR in MBA. Surely your insights and inputs will give them a lot of thinking and thought process. Surely they will get deep into the subjects, because this semester they started studying HRM, Human Resource Management. In fact, they started learning about HRM. Surely your inputs will give them a in-depth understanding and varied aspects, and also will give them a better understanding the students. And really, thank you very much, sir. Your patient explanation to students concerned, and you speak in a way that all students can understand and imbibe, sir. Thankful to you for a wonderful insights on HRM, and also my sincere thanks to Balachinder sir for referring your expertise to Knowledge Business School, sir. Thankful to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, NCB, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Thank you. Bye.
Over to the comparing team.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for elaborating about Faurecia by showing us some videos and also delivering such an inspiring speech on skills, reskills, generation viewpoint, and so on. So now I would like to call Mr. Dilip Kumar to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Dilip Kumar.
Thank you, Niveta. Those who know the value of a favor will not evaluate its worth, even if a favor done is a minor one. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable program. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's program a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our resource person, Mr. S. Valliyappan, Head HR, Faurecia Emission Control Technologies India Private Limited in Chennai. Thank you, sir, from your busy schedule, has found time to grace this program. It was really informative. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We are grateful to our founder and principal, Dr. P. S. S. Srinivasan, sir, for his words of encouragement. His able guidance has always encouraged us. I thank him for his kindness, his interest, and his continuous support. Thank you, sir. I thank our Dr. P. Suresh Kumar, sir, for constant support for this program. Thank you, sir. I thank our well-wisher Director, Dr. A. Stephen, sir, for his continuous support. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to thank our Placement Director, Dr. P. Rajendran, sir, for his guidance. Thank you, sir. Next, I thank our Mr. N.C. Balachandran, sir, Senior Consultant Placement for Knowledge Institute of Technology and Knowledge Business School, for his support. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Then I would like to thank our Vice Principal, Dr. K. Visagavel, sir, for his guidance. Thank you, sir. My heartfelt thanks to the various department faculty members and supporting staff for making this program a successful one. Thank you. Then I thank our budding manager for participating in this program. Thank you. Last but not the least, I thank you, my friends, for your cooperation in making this function a resounding success. Thank you, friends. Once again, I thank you all for your attention and give the opportunity. Thank you. Over to Niveta.
Thank you, Dilip Kumar. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this executive interaction program. Thank you all.
Sir, thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for your participation. We are so glad and happy. Thank you, Balachinder, sir. Thank you, Visagavan, sir, Vice Principal, Dr. Rajendran, and all the students. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We can close the
Thank
meeting.
you, sir.